Welcome into the Five Tool Baseball Podcast. I am Ryan Schlesinger alongside my co-hosts Sam Durham, Samuel Levine, and Jake Morgenstein. And this is episode 2 of our 6 division previews. Today we will be moving to the AL Central, arguably the worst division in baseball. And let's just get right into it. We're going to start off with our team-by-team previews. So I guess whoever wants to go first can go first and talk about the reigning division champ Cleveland Guardians.
I'll go first. This is my team. So Cleveland Guardians, a lot of people say they declined this offseason after winning the division and going into ALCS, in which they lost in 5 games to the Yankees, but a lot of those games were closely contested. Cleveland this year, okay, half my face has now been cut off. Cleveland this year, you've got some people say a bad offseason. They traded Andres Gimenez to Toronto, and through another trade, they got back Luis Ortiz, and they traded Josh Naylor to Arizona, got back Slade Ciccone, and they signed Carlos Santana back, who previously in 2019 for Cleveland was an all-star starter. They also signed Paul Sewald from Arizona. They've still got a solid team all around. They had great reasoning for the trades that they made. So I still think this is a very solid Cleveland team. I would not expect anything less from them this year.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think even though the Guardians were very quiet this offseason, free agency has never really been a big part of their
Yeah.
success. So what they're going to need to bank on, like you've mentioned to me before in private conversations, is individual player improvement. And there's no reason to think that they won't get individual player improvement when most of their roster is like under 28, 27
Yeah.
years old. You have a lot of guys who aren't prospects anymore, but they haven't broken out yet. We'll get into some more of those guys later on. And then they've got their significant key players, as you can see below: Emmanuel Clase, Cade Smith, Jose Ramirez, Shane Bieber, Stephen Kwan, David Fry, and Lane Thomas. I trust all those guys to just do what they're expected to do. And I think that unless things go terribly wrong health-wise, and some of the younger guys who aren't trustworthy underperform, there's no way the Guardians have a insanely down year and miss out on the playoffs. I'm not going to go as far as to say I'm completely sure that they'll win the division, but I'm going to give them about an 80, maybe 85% chance to win the division. What about you guys?
Yeah, I'd agree. This has arguably been their most eventful offseason in a while.
When I look at this Guardians team, I see what you did with significant players. The first two that you said were both relievers / closers, and the bullpen is a key piece for this Cleveland Guardians team. They have arguably the best bullpen in baseball, or second best bullpen in baseball, behind the Los Angeles Dodgers. And with Cade Smith, who'd be a closer on over 20 teams in Major League Baseball, but not with the Guardians because of that man in the first significant players column, Emmanuel Clase, best closing pitcher in baseball last year, but did struggle in the postseason. I expect big things from him this season again in the regular season.
Yeah, Sam, I think you feel a lot differently about the Guardians, so go ahead and tell us why.
Yeah, I believe that I'm going to have to go with a very drastic view here. Look, the Cleveland Guardians, I was not really that big of a fan of their offseason. I would personally give them like a C+. The reality is the Cleveland Guardians, they bought into what really the culture is and the rest of the Cleveland area when it comes to professional sports, which is really just cutting money first and contending second. I feel like they really did a good job of doing that this offseason. They get rid of Andres Gimenez, which I wasn't really a huge fan of simply because I think that he hasn't really produced his best career season yet. And trading him to a team like the Toronto Blue Jays, that's a team that, since Gimenez's contract, that lasts for a lot more years down the line. That could be a potential player that prevents you from a wild card spot in that race. But overall, I guess I'm okay with taking a flyer on Carlos Santana for $12 million for a 38-year-old. My favorite signing, to be honest, with their whole offseason was probably the John Means signing with taking the flyer, because I think he could definitely perform above that of $1 million AAV. But in terms of the rest of the team, I feel like they have a big hole at middle infield this season. I'm not sure if they're really ready to contend with Brito and Rocchio in second and short. And just, I don't know. I feel like it definitely could have been a chance to make them back-to-back division champions, but considering all the other division in that all the other competition in that division, it's kind of like a 4-horse race. I feel like you really have to capitalize in as many opportunities as you can, and I don't think they did that this offseason.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
main reason that they traded Jimenez is because they have Travis Bazzana coming up in 2026, the first overall pick last year. So I think that's a big reason why they did that. And also Brito, they must have a bit of confidence in him just to be a good 1-year replacement, and then they can use him elsewhere.
Yeah, I just think that like it'll always go back to the Guardians have by far the best player development in the division, and they have by far the best pitching coaches, pitching development in the division, as we saw with their bullpen. A lot of random guys who nobody had heard of with sub-2 ERAs, and that's why it was one of the best bullpens of all time. And even though their rotation doesn't have many big names, I think they'll still, find 2 to 3 guys who can be at least serviceable in games before their bullpen comes in, just because of how much I trust that pitching development. So, yeah, we're going to move on to the next team. We're not going to go in order of the division standings last year. We're actually going to move to the Minnesota Twins just because I feel like it. The Twins finished 4th place in the division last year, but they do have some talent. They are in the mix for 1st or 2nd place this year. They were actually in playoff position for most of the year last year before a rough fall off in mid and late September. So what do you guys think about the Twins?
That was smooth there. Sam, you're the God's most confident Twins, so I'll let you take this.
I mean, I wouldn't say most confident in the Twins, but I feel like they have a lot more upside than you think, because if you think about it, they really played the best baseball in that division for 4/5 of the 6 months of the season last year. I mean, it was really just a total collapse in the end, in like once fall came around, and you could possibly say that's because of half, but I mean because of health and stuff. But overall, I mean, it's an okay offseason. I feel like letting Max Kepler go was okay. I think the Phillies definitely overpaid there a little bit just due to his track record. I kind of like the Danny Coulomb signing simply because for 1 year, $3 million, I feel like there were a lot of relievers who kind of had the same leverage in terms of situations, and they were paid a lot more money. But overall, I feel like the lineup has an okay amount of upside. I think Brooks Lee, you could definitely get a better season out of him production wise. I mean, you have a pretty decent situation at catcher with the platoon between Vasquez and Jeffers, and the pitching rotation's solid. I mean, you could argue if you were the average the first 3 guys out of any rotation in that division, just like a cumulative assessment, you could maybe say the Twins have the best with Lopez over and Ryan. So, I mean, I don't know. I think that they're definitely an injury away from losing, but so is everyone, So, I mean, I could easily see them getting 4th place in this division, but I could also easily see them being in the mix in the final couple weeks of September.
Yeah, I think other teams.
The issue
Sorry,
with the
you go.
Twins for me is just that they don't have enough star power, so they're gonna be too reliant on a bunch of players stepping up. I mean, you just look across this roster, position player wise: Ryan Jeffers, Christian Vasquez, Ty France, Brooks Lee, Royce Lewis, Carlos Correa, Trevor Larnach, Byron Buxton, Matt Wallner, and their benches Mirando, Julian, and Harrison Bader. They have no solidified superstar who I trust, like the Royals have in Bobby Witt Jr., like the Guardians have in Jose Ramirez. I think Carlos Correa is capable of playing like a superstar for stretches, but I can't really rely on him to stay healthy. So I just don't know if this Twins if this Twins roster has enough star power to win the division. They kind of remind me of the Cubs. A lot of really good players, but I don't know how well they'll all mix together because you don't have a true power hitter you can trust to hit 35 home runs, and you don't really have a great 5-tool player outside of maybe Byron Buxton, who we know is going to get injured at some point because it happens every year.
Yeah, this team probably got worse in the offseason, but it is a solid foundation still. They lost the Gold Glove first baseman Santana to the division rival, but they have Ty France there. Hopefully that works out okay for them. I know, like you said, Sam, injuries could easily bite them and could really set them back. But I think the Twins have less of an advantage depth-wise when someone gets injured than other teams in this division. So that's why I'm a bit worried about them. Rocco Baldelli is a solid manager. I'm sure he'll have him in check. I expect this team to still get 80-plus wins. Jake?
Yeah, with the Minnesota Twins, what I look at this team is I see no real ace in this rotation. I mean, Pablo Lopez is very good, but he's not an ace caliber starting pitcher that other teams in the division have, like Cole Ragans, like Tariq Skubal, and like Shane Bieber when he comes back from injury. And then when you look at the bats of this team, there is some power in Byron Buxton, who obviously will most likely get injured because he hasn't played a full season in a very long time. And then the second best hitter really is Carlos Correa, who is also very good. But then after that, who do you really have? I mean, you could say, a Royce Lewis or Brooks Lee, but is that really the star power and the bats that you need to be able to go out and win this division against a team like the Guardians or the Tigers, who have Gleyber Torres, Riley Green, Kerry Carpenter, or the Guardians, who have Jose Ramirez, Lane Thomas, who had a home run today, Samuel. You were pretty excited about that. And Stephen Kwan. Like, I'd take either of those big threes over the Twins' big three. And I see the Twins, like Sam said, if they stay healthy, they can easily win this division. They have the talent on paper. But when you look at the overall team with injuries and a lot of other stuff, the track record of this team is not that good versus other teams in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, I was about to say the problem with this team, along with the lineup, is also their pitching rotation. They don't have enough star power in the pitching rotation. Pablo Lopez, Joe Ryan, and Bailey Ober are all very solid starters. They're all guys who can go out there and have a sub 350, but none of those guys are ace caliber starters. So I just think there's too much mid on this Twins team and not enough star power. So I don't really see how this Twins team wins much more than 85 games. I think they could sneak in the playoffs as the second or third wild card team in the American League, but I just don't really see a route to them winning this American League East or Central, unless everyone else underperforms.
Yeah, have to.
I mean, I don't know though. If you look at them, if we're talking realistically in a 162 game season, it doesn't really. I agree. If you put them in a chess match with other teams, if you're talking game 1, game 2, game 3, etc., they're going to lose the pitching matchup in terms of ace 2, 3. But I think in terms of pitching production, getting through an 162 game season, which is really getting harder for teams each year, just concerned with how health is in the starting pitcher market right now. Just I feel like having a guy like Lopez, who has been relatively consistent most of his career. You have guys like Ryan and Ober, who you're both kind of banking on that career seasons. I think they both could. And then Woods Richardson, you would think that he would definitely get better. And if things go south, but the division's still in reach, I mean, we saw the Tigers last year. They were sellers at the deadline. They ended up having the best month of September in the league and ended up sneaking in the playoffs over the Twins, who were putting themselves in the category of buyers at the deadline. So, I mean, it really just comes down to what can happen through an 162-game stretch. And I think that if you look at the names of the rotation, while there may not be a lot of star power, but they're not really putting all their eggs in one basket. They're kind of like they're sharing the wealth throughout their rotation. And if one guy goes down, they still have a decent amount of arms to work with.
All right.
Yeah,
I think
the rotation is solid enough. Fine.
We're going to move to the next team. Let's just get this one out of the way because we've all been dreading it. It is the Chicago White Sox, probably the worst team in baseball over the past, maybe century in 2024. We'll see if they get even worse in 2025. I think there's a possibility that they win less than 40 this year. They are just that bad. And as you can see, they are so bad that they have no significant players. Yes, Luis Robert Jr. is significant, but he had a very down year last year, fighting injury and underperforming statistically. So there's barely any significant players on this White Sox team. I guess Colson Montgomery, but he's still a prospect. The White Sox player I'm most looking forward to is catching prospect Darius Leverett. What about you? What do you guys think about the White Sox?
I think it's crazy that a team that won 41 games can get worse in the offseason. And the White Sox actually did that. They lost their ace, Garrett Crochet, just about the only relevant player left on their team, to be honest. And yeah, I like that catching prospect you were talking about, Ryan. Jake, what do you think?
I think Darius Leverett is going to bring a lot to this team for the Chicago White Sox in the future. He's got the power. He has the contact as well. I'm just worried about him on the base pass. Will he run when he is supposed to? We will see when that happens. But overall, looking at the Chicago White Sox team, I see a lot of holes in pretty much every single position besides first base and Andrew Vaughn, who I think is playable on major league teams. I think he's tolerable when it comes to a player. I think he's better than Ty France of the Twins, but that's really it when it comes to this White Sox team. I mean, Luis Robert Jr.'s could be very good. We'll see what he does, but overall, when your ace is Martin Perez, I don't see what can happen well for this team. And yes, I expect them to lose less games this year than last year as well.
Yeah, that's about it for the White Sox.
All right. Yeah, that's really all we have to talk about. And now, I guess, the two most enticing teams in the division. Let's start with the Kansas City Royals, who are coming off a really successful season. They're looking to build on it with pretty much their entire core returning, even though they didn't do much this past offseason. Bobby Witt Jr., Vinny Pasquantino, Salvador Perez, Michael Wacha, Seth Lugo, and Cole Reagans. It's an exciting group. I think all these guys are in the conversation for the most underrated players in baseball, especially guys like Cole Reagans and Bobby Witt Jr. I'm pretty high on the Royals personally. I think they'll do about what they did last year and get back into the playoffs. What about you guys?
I think that the American League is, when it comes to wild card teams, it's very even. And I don't see them winning the division. I see them having a very small chance of sneaking as a wild card team because the second and third best teams in divisions like the Boston Red Sox, the Baltimore Orioles, the Royals, the Guardians, and Tigers are all three of these teams, in my opinion, will fight for the division. And then you have also the Seattle Mariners or the Houston Astros in the AL West that have the chance to make the postseason as well through the wild card. But when it comes to this division and when it comes to winning the division, the Royals have lots of chances, especially with Bobby Witt Jr. And I really like their addition of Jonathan India as well. Cole Reagans is one of the best pitchers in baseball to me when it comes to in top 15 to top 12 pitchers. When it comes to baseball, he's very, very good. And I think that their rotation is the second best in the division. They've got a tolerable, pretty decent bullpen. So I expect them to do pretty decent things this season as well.
Sam?
Sorry, what was
that? About the Royals, I guess I can go. It's fine. The Royals.
I would actually love to go about the Kansas City Royals. I feel like their offseason was definitely in the higher tier of this division overall. I think the Jonathan India trade, sacrificing Brady Singer, it kind of had to happen eventually, but they felt good enough about their rotation. And I feel as though they definitely did overpay Carlos Estevez. And his second year with that commitment may not be the best thing in the world. But overall, if you look at the lineup, they definitely have the internal pieces to succeed again. I feel like they've been in the rumors of the Alex Verdugo sweepstakes. I feel like if they could get him on that squad as well, that would really help elevate their lineup enough to really convince me they would win this division. But overall, you're banking on Pasquantino to have a better season. It's going to be really hard for Bobby Witt to put up the same numbers he did last year, but if you can still get him to hit above 300 and stay in that all-star caliber range, then that's really all you need. If you can have Jonathan India have a career season as well, that'd be great for you. And then rotation-wise, Lugo and Wacha are both obviously going to decline. The question is just how much. I don't really think it's going to be as much as some people think. And their bullpen, I did say that they overpaid Estevez. I still like it, though, with, you have Urquidy and Harvey in there as well. So, if you can get Kyle Wright, a lot of people forget just a couple years ago, Kyle Wright led the majors in wins. So, if you can get him back on the opening, he's not going to be on the opening day roster after that hamstring strain he just had. But if you can get him out there late April, there will probably be an injury to the rotation by then, just knowing how things have worked lately. I think he could definitely be a difference maker as well. So the Royals definitely have the most upside in this division out of any team.
Yeah, I can see where you come from on the upside. One thing I question is the starting rotation depth and the bullpen depth. You've got Reagans, Lugo, Waka at the top. There's Urseg and Estevez at the top of the bullpen, but I don't really see much else potential. So yeah, I think Royals. The foundation's there. The outfield I think is questionable as well. MJ Melendez, Carlos, Hunter Renfroe, like Dairon Blanco doesn't really speak to me that much either. So I think obviously the main highlight of the team is the infield, and uh, hopefully they can keep this momentum going. Well, hopefully not for Cleveland, but yeah, hopefully they can keep this momentum going from last year. And I think we have one more team.
Yeah, I think my biggest issue with the Royals before we move on to the Tigers would be their rotation depth, like you mentioned, but also their average age in the rotation. So obviously Cole Reagans is their ace, and he's 27. I'm not too worried about him. He doesn't have a lot of leverage on that arm, so he should be fine. But my worries are Michael Wacha and Seth Lugo at the ripe ages of 35 and 32. I just don't know how much longer they're going to last without breaking down. They could be like very solid inning eaters who put up a sub 350. But if even one of those guys goes down at some point during the stretch of the season, you look at a very weak rotation behind Cole Reagans. So we're going to move on now to the Detroit Tigers, who have significant players of Riley Green, Tarek Skubal, Jack Flaherty, Gleyber Torres, and Kerry Carpenter. This is a very top-heavy team. I love their rotation as they got Jack Flaherty back, so now that's a great 1-2 punch with Skubal and Flaherty. We saw their bullpen show some flashes in the postseason, but the biggest concern for me with the Tigers is their offense, because outside of Riley Green, you don't have much. You have guys with high upside like Gleyber Torres, like Kerry Carpenter, like Spencer Torkelson, if he ever figures it out. But overall, if this Tigers offense plays similar to how they played last year, it's easily the fourth best offense in the division. And that's a concern for me with the Tigers.
Yeah, the Tigers.
okay.
You go. You're good.
No, you can go.
No, you got it, bro. Just go. Sam, we're not going to keep doing this. Just go, bro.
Anyway, the point that I was going to make is that I feel like the Tigers' offense is definitely bound for an upgrade at the trade deadline. Simply because if you look at their farm system, I mean, the back half of the lineup, I will admit, is kind of underwhelming. It probably prevents me from wanting to confidently pick them to win this division, but I think that Kerry Carpenter definitely showed some flashes last year, so I think he could be good production-wise. I mean, you have Jace Young making his debut, kind of. I mean, Trey Sweeney will probably put up a little bit better production numbers. Same with Colt Keith, but I mean, they're kind of bound to make a move at the deadline, considering that their farm system ranks 7th. I mean, I wouldn't say that they would move a guy with the magnitude of Jackson Jobe or Max Clark, but they definitely have some guys who are ranked towards the back end of the top 100 prospects who I could definitely see them moving to make a splash at the trade deadline, especially if this division is close, which it is likely going to be come the All-Star break. So I could easily see this team making a move at the trade deadline to boost their lineup. As for their rotation, I don't really think they need to make that many changes, to be honest. I mean, Skubal, Flaherty, I expect both of them to have good seasons. I assume Flaherty is going to meet that 20-start threshold to earn the extra $10 million in his contract next year. I think he's going to stay healthy. I know there's a lot of concern about his health this offseason, but and then if you look, they have multiple guys who are capable of closing games as well, which is really valuable if you're playing a lot of close games, which we know that their offense is going to because they don't really light up the scoreboard, and this division's close as well. So, I mean, closers that can close out games, you have multiple options, Holton, Foley, all those guys. They signed Tommy Canley as well in free agency. That was kind of their third move, I guess. Alex Cobb will come off the IL soon, too. That's a big one, 1 year, $15 million flyer. So we'll see. I mean, I think that in terms of addition versus subtraction, they definitely did the best in the offseason out of any team. But, yeah, I mean, the upside is definitely there for the Tigers. And if they play the same baseball they played in September 2024, then they're easily going to win this division.
Yeah, Sam, like you said, this team was really good last year, and they got better in the offseason. A very slept-on offseason at that. Jack Flaherty Torres, you talked about Canley and Tommy Canley and Alex Cobb. Their biggest subtraction was someone like Alex Faedo. So it was a pretty good offseason for them, to say the least. And this is a team that made the playoffs last year. So there's no limit. There's a chance this team could win 95-plus games easily.
When I look at the Detroit Tigers, I look at, for me, is a team that has the highest ceiling in this division, like the ceiling that's right above me, pretty high ceiling. This team has a ceiling that is 95, 96, 97 win ceiling, but they also have a pretty low floor of about 80 to 81 wins. But when I see the Tigers, I see them hitting smack down in the middle of that type of win range. The win of this Tigers team is really going to have focus on starting pitching. You have to see what Jackson Jobe and Casey Mize will produce in 2025. Mize, who has had an underwhelming career before, was a top 3 pick in the draft a few years ago. And then the bullpen is also very underrated and very good. And when you look at the bats, there is some very good bats in the lineup, like Kerry Carpenter, the big addition of Gleyber Torres to add to this team, as well as Riley Green, who produced amazing baseball in this September of last year, which was huge for this Tigers team.
All right, so that'll wrap it up for our team previews. We're going to move on to our standings. So I'll start first, and I'll just go really quick here. We'll do some rapid-fire standings since we already kind of explained most of our reasonings. I have nothing hot, so that's why I'm going first. My number 1 is going to be the Guardians at 90 wins, so a slight decline from last year. My number 2 is the Kansas City Royals at 87 wins. My number 3 is the Detroit Tigers and Minnesota Twins tying for third place with 84 wins. And my number 5 is the Chicago White Sox, who will be declining from last year, somehow going to an all-time low of just 37 wins this year. All right. What about you, Sam?
I mean, look, I'll give my thoughts on the team from the South Side first because I didn't get to give my thoughts on them earlier. I mean, I feel like the offseason was kind of okay for them. I mean, Martin Perez as an opening day starter was definitely not. I like the Josh Rojas signing, I guess, sure. And I mean, Slater and Michael A. Taylor, but get this hat here. This will not be winning the division, so I'll throw that away first. Just really, I mean, flat out disgust to the world of baseball. I mean, I would hate to be a little kid getting into baseball and going out to ask your dad to watch a game and watching that team. I think they'll do better though. I think 55 wins is on the table for the White Sox. In third place, I have thought about it for a while, and I'm gonna have a tie here. I'm gonna have a tie between the Minneapolis Twins and the Cleveland Guardians.
Oh, no.
Bit subjective. I think that both of them are going to win 84 baseball games this season, simply because I think Cleveland will struggle with health. Their bullpen, there's no possible way they can pitch as well as they did last year. I mean, that's just flat out. It was that. I think Ramirez is definitely bound for a good season. I think he'll probably have the same production as last year, but the middle infield, the lack of experience, that'll take time. And I think the Guardians, I think they'll have a really good second half. I think they'll be in the mix for the second half. I just think that the first half is going to take so much getting used to with health, no Bieber either. I don't like them out the gate. For the Twins, it's the total opposite. I like them right out the gate. I think it'll be a second half collapse again. I wouldn't be surprised if they're winning the division at the All-Star break and then health kicks in. So Twins, Guardians, they're both going to go away as well. That brings us down to 2 teams, Kansas City Royals, Detroit Tigers. This one is going to be close. In second place with 86 victories, I think the Kansas City Royals will get second place simply because I don't think Lugo and Walker, I don't think they can replicate their health, which means that overall I will be committing to the Detroit Tigers to win the division.
All right. It's a good pick.
All right. How about you, Jake?
So I'm going to be starting like Ryan did at the top and then move down. And I like that hat on your head right now, Sam. I'm going to be choosing the Detroit Tigers to win this division at 89 and 73, 89 wins. In second place, I have Samuel's Cleveland Guardians at 87 and 75. In third place, I have the Kansas City Royals at 86 and 76. In fourth place, I have the Twins and what is exactly 500, which is, I think, what they are, a complete average team at 81 and 81. And fifth place, Ryan, I think your win total was a little bit too high for the Chicago White Sox. I have them at 35 and 127 in total games this
Oh my god.
this season.
All right, last but not least, Mr. Samuel Levine.
All right, I'm gonna be. I'm just gonna go bottom to top. White Sox. I went a tad more friendly, but I still think they're breaking the record from last year, 40 and 120 for me. Fourth place, I got Minnesota. I like their team, but I still think they get fourth place, 84 and 78 for me. In third place, I'm gonna go with Kansas City at 85 and 77. And on the final day of the division, the Cleveland Guardians will beat out the Detroit Tigers by one game. The Cleveland Guardians will go 95 and 67. The Detroit Tigers will go 94 and 68. The Guardians will be division champs, and the Detroit Tigers will be the 4 seed in the playoffs.
All right. Let's move on to our next segment, which is awards. We're going to start off with the MVP award. I will start off first since my pick is probably the most obvious. It's Bobby Witt Jr., and there's not really a debate. Bobby Witt Jr. last year maybe would have won MVP if not for Aaron Judge and Juan Soto absolutely balling out and putting up some of the craziest offensive seasons we've seen in recent history in the American League. But still, Bobby Witt Jr., just an overall incredible year. I mean, last year, he became just one of 4 shortstops since integration to record a Fangraphs WAR of 10 or higher. The other 3 guys, Lou Boudreau, Cal Ripken Jr., and Alex Rodriguez, I mean, that is just elite company, if anything. This guy is just a stud. He's by far the best shortstop in baseball. He's in the conversation for the best player in baseball. He's right there, in my opinion, with Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani. He's that good. And he's still very young, too. He's still under 25. There's just no way Bobby Witt Jr. doesn't win division MVP unless he gets injured.
I'll go second here with MVP, and I will also have to agree with Bobby Witt Jr. Bobby Witt Jr. is a 5-tool player and is that for sure because he can hit, he can run, he can play the field very well. He has power, he has contact. He's 99th percentile in batting run value, 96th percentile in base running run value, and 95th percentile in fielding run value, which is, as you could probably say, that's just perfect when it comes to a player in Major League Baseball. And with the talent in this division, I don't think that there is another option really when it comes to another player. He is arguably the fastest player in baseball when it comes to speed, and he doesn't strike out very much and just gets on base all the time. A 977 OPS last year, and I really like Bobby Witt Jr. I don't think there's really other players to pick.
Yeah, so Jake, that was some great use of baseball savant right there, by the way. My pick, I figured everyone was going to pick Bobby Witt Jr., so I took Jose Ramirez just for the fun of it. That's my franchise player, okay? I have to pick Jose. I know everyone else would pick Bobby Witt Jr., so I decided to pick Jose. Don't laugh. Hey, I did it for the fun of it, okay? Jose, he's consistent.
We're gonna be watching this back. And Bobby Witt Jr. is gonna have an MVP award in the American League. And
Jake, I'm doing this for the fun of it. I just said.
And then J Ram's gonna finish in like 10th through voting, maybe.
He hasn't done that in a while, though. He's very consistent. I think J Ram has a solid shot at winning MVP at least for the division. Who knows what happens with health? Who knows what happens with any player's health? So. You never know what could happen. The favorite can seem like a favorite by a mile, but you never know. Jose Ramirez has been very consistent, and I think he's got the next best shot after Bobby Witt Jr., so that's why I picked him. He's my franchise player. He's consistent. Sam, what about you?
I mean, first of all, I wasn't going to pick Bobby Witt Jr. either, but that was just an absolute preposterous take right there. I mean, Jose Ramirez, don't get me wrong, he is a great player, but I mean, you could definitely argue there's 2 third baseman spots, 3 third baseman spots in the All-Star game. I mean, I would walk in Devers for one of them because he's fighting for that position. I'm not really. I mean, if Jose Ramirez has one bad month, he may not even be in the Midsummer Classic. But That being said here, Bobby Wood Jr., don't get me wrong, is a very safe pick, okay? If you look at the stats from last season, he's always stayed healthy, but I think that the safest overall pick in this division is a pitcher, which is why I'm going to take Tarik Skubal to win MVP of this division. Pitchers are athletes too. We don't need to move the MVP as simply just a position player award only. And if you look at Skubal, there wasn't really much to dislike last season. I mean, stayed healthy, pitched almost 200 innings, made over his 30 starts. He pitched especially well in the postseason. I mean, maybe had some of the best starts in the playoffs out of any pitcher in any game we saw in the Fall Classic. So I'm going to take Tarik Skubal. That means that, yes, that's my Cy Young as well, so we don't need to have me go for that. But, yeah, I think that if you look at the Matrix and you look at the rankings as well as if you just look at pure talent, he showed me he had pure dog last year as well. So I'll take Tarik Skubal to win the MVP and the Cy Young.
Yeah, I actually don't hate
Sam.
that pick. We're going to move on to our Cy Young segment now. I obviously had Tarik Skubal, just to reiterate what you said. He was the American League Cy Young Award winner last year. He's pretty much been good his whole career. He just hasn't been healthy on a consistent basis. Now that he is more healthy and he is consistently on the field, we know what he's capable of. 18 wins last year, 2.39 ERA. I think if you remove Tarik Skubal from the Tigers roster, they would not have been a playoff team last year. I don't even think that's arguable. What about you guys?
I'm picking Tarik Skubal, easy pick. So I just
Jake, how about you?
decided. Yeah, Jake. Let's see if Jake steps up and goes.
No,
different here.
I'm not
I think
stepping
I
up.
do too.
Tarik Skubal for me is the best pitcher in baseball. I have him over Paulson.
All right, let's stop wasting time on Tarik Skubal.
Yeah.
Let's move on to our
Wait,
breakout.
can I want to say one more thing. If Tarik Skubal was not in the division, my Cy Young pick would be a relief pitcher in Griffin Jacks. Remember that.
Oh no.
Okay, now we're going to move on to our breakout pick. Jake, you can go first.
I'm going to go with Jonathan India of the Kansas City Royals. India coming from Cincinnati. He has always been a good player when it comes to getting on base. He is a career 764 OPS and a career 352 on base percentage. He does not chase pitches outside of the strike zone, and he walks a lot, which is huge when it comes to a good player in baseball. I expect him, though, to hit 20-plus home runs if he wants to hit the breakout player of the division, which is what I think he will. And playing in a new ballpark, I just think that he will improve a very good amount. So I like India a lot for breakout player of the AL Central.
All right, I'll go next real quick here with Joe Ryan as my breakout pick. Don't get me wrong, Joe Ryan has been solid so far in his career. 4 seasons, a 3.92 ERA, 33-26 record. He's started 84 games, over 470 innings with 525 strikeouts. But I think he's capable of a lot more. He's now 28 years old. He hasn't thrown over 165 innings in his career to this point, and I think that'll change this year. You look at last year, a 3.60 ERA for Joe Ryan, but he was extremely unlucky, one of the more unlucky pitchers in Major League Baseball. His expected ERA was nearly a point lower at 2.87. That ranks out in the 91st percentile, according to Baseball Savant. He also barely walks anyone, a 96th percentile walk rate at just 4.3%. So I love Joe Ryan's peripherals here, and I think he's set up to have a sub-3 ERA season for the first time in his career and be the breakout player of the AL Central. Sam.
Well, I'm going to pick a hitter and a pitcher here because he only got one pick out of me for the MVP and Cy Young. For the hitter, I know he's already had a couple good seasons, but I think that this is really the year where Vinny Pasquantino moves his game up to the next level. And that's simply because he always makes contact with the ball. Like, you look 96 percentile in strikeout percentage last year and whiff percentage. He doesn't really chase. I mean, he chases a little bit of pitches, but when he does, he squares up with them pretty well. And I think that from a power standpoint, I could definitely see him having more round trippers this season than he's had in his career, really. I mean, he had 19 last year. I believe that was a career high. I think that he'll definitely overtake that last year, partially because I also think that baseballs are going to be flying out a little bit more this year as well. That's just something that I personally think. But disregard that fact at all. I think that if it was the same baseball, he would still hit a lot more home runs. Then for the pitching staff, I'm going to go with the same pitching staff as Ryan did, except I'm going to go with a different pitcher. I'm going to go with 24-year-old Simeon Woods Richardson. He had some really good values with his fastball and breaking ball last year. I mean, the off speed wasn't really that good. I think that's kind of what really held him back. So I think if he can really just focus on using his four seam and his slider this year, maybe stop throwing the curveball as much and the changeup, I could definitely see him becoming a really good pitcher as well. I mean, last year, as expected, ERA was 4.05. I mean, I think he pitched to a 4.2, so pretty average. But the Twins are going to need him to step up this year, and as a 22-year-old, I think he's going to. I mean, 24-year-old, excuse me. But I think that this is the year that we see Simeon Woods Richardson take the next step for the Twins.
All right, last but not least, Velibus.
All right, I was going to take Brian Rocchio, but I looked at his baseball savant and I decided differently. I'm going to go with another Twins pitcher. I'm going Bailey Ober. I know, kind of copying, but still a different pitcher. You look at his baseball savant peripherals, his off-speed run value is in the 95th percentile. His chase percentage is in the 93rd percentile. One of his lower percentiles is fastball velo, but that doesn't matter if you can still go out there and be a great pitcher. So I think Bailey Ober, he's 6'9", 260 pounds. He's huge. He's got a lot of extension, so he's going to be pitching from a closer angle than most pitchers. And I think he just got to. I think he's got it this year. I mean, his chase rate is really good. If he can get more strikeouts this year, his whiff rate's solid, K rate, walk rate, all that is really good. His xERA is in the 84th percentile. His XBA is in the 85th percentile. He's got a lot of good peripherals for savant.
All right, it's time to move on to the final segment of the show, and my personal favorite. It is the division draft. Last time we drafted, we couldn't fully decide on who won. It was between me and Jake, with Samuel being the obvious third place. Now we have a fourth person joining our draft for the first time in podcast history, so it'll be me picking first, Jake picking second, Samuel picking third, and Sam picking last, in snake draft order style. So I will start off with the obvious first overall pick. It is my division MVP pick, Bobby Witt Jr., and he will be playing shortstop, obviously. Jake, how about you?
I wish you picked the guy that I'm picking because I don't want to start my whole team based on a pitcher, but I have to. The best pitcher in baseball, Tariq Skubal.
Best pitcher in baseball.
Ryan, I'm not even going to say my pick. I'm going to take.
Okay, Jose Ramirez, third base.
Yep.
All right, Sam, back-to-back picks. Who you going with?
Well, I'm going to jump on the starting pitching game early here because I think that that's kind of important with some of the arms. I'm going to take Cole Reagans with my first pick. I think that that's really the clear cut if I want to have a pitcher. And then if I'm looking, I want to get a bat, but there's not really that much to look at. I'll take he's gonna go with the next pick, so I'll just go ahead and take Emmanuel Quase as my closer.
That was not going to be my next pick. I'm lucky I got the
Emmanuel is going to be very excited to add Stephen Kwan to his.
I'm not picking Stephen Kwan. I lied to you, Jake, because I did not trust you to tell Sam.
Ryan Rocchio will be joining Team Samuel.
All right, so I'm making this pick specifically out of positional value because the next best guy at this position is Brian Rocchio, and I'm going to take Carlos Correa here.
That's why Cade Smith will be going. Oh, never mind. Okay, my fault.
With my next pick, I would like to add an outfielder to my team, and I will be adding. Ryan, is this injuries or is there injuries happen or no injuries?
No,
It's the same rules as the AL East draft.
So no injuries. Give me Byron Buxton to play center field for me.
All right. Okay. Back-to-back picks here on the end of the snake. Let me go with Cade Smith, and I'll.
Will you be putting Cade Smith as the closer since he could be the closer for 29 out of 30 MLB teams?
Okay, Sam. All right.
I'll keep him in the setup role just because he has no experience as a closer. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. It does take some time to get used to that closer role.
All right, so Cade Smith will be my setup man. And then my starting pitcher one. Nah, we're not going to go starting pitcher yet. Give me actually, in my opinion, the better outfielder than Jake's outfielder. Give me Riley Green, and I'll play him in.
I was
left.
deciding between two of them.
Yeah, Green is a much safer pick. I'm not sure how much production Byron Buxton can put up at this point in his career. He's not really young anymore, and his body has taken so much injuries.
But it's no injury, so his peak.
Well,
Correct.
yeah, but I mean,
the
it's
injuries
no,
are still
it's
the previous injuries are still factored in.
Yeah. I don't know. I like Buxton if he's fully healthy for the whole year. For one season. My second pick, or my third pick, I'm going to go with the positional value pick here. I'm going to take Salvador Perez to play catcher. I know that he's not really a catcher, but there isn't really any other good catchers in this division. Really, I mean, Darius Leverett as a prospect has good chances. But besides that, there's not really any good prospects.
I mean, geez, talk about a positional liability right there at catcher.
Fielding wise,
yeah, I don't know about that one. Jim.
Yeah, I don't know about
definitely
positional value there because when you
that one definitely made me feel better
Yeah,
about my chances.
when
I'm
you
not gonna
yeah, I
lie.
mean when you draft a catcher, your main goal isn't to get a good hitter. You can get that in a DH or a first baseman. You want a guy who can work well with pitchers and throw out runners and frame, and you do not get that at all from Salvador Perez, who had a negative 2 blocks above average as catcher last year. The guy's 34. I mean, that is just I don't know what that pick is.
He does have a gold glove in his career.
Morgenstein.
How many gold gloves does he have?
The guy is 34 right now.
Yo, no one.
9th percentile of fielding run value last year.
Jake,
so
that's including first base, though.
Yeah.
Where he had a 4 out above average. Like, no, he is not a good defensive catcher. Holy casual.
He's not he's not a good defensive catcher. I wasn't saying that. I was saying that he's tolerable behind my.
Okay.
He is not tolerable.
Jake, you can shut up now. I'm taking Stephen Kwan
34.
next.
All right, Stephen Kwan, left field. Sam.
The Kwan hate could go on no longer. I had to take him.
Well, that kind of I'm gonna have to stall some time here because I was actually pretty confident that Stephen Kwan was gonna fall to me with my next pick. So we're gonna go back to the drawing board here. I mean, I would get it. How many starters is this? A 3-starter draft or a 2-starter draft?
3 starters, 2 relievers.
3 starters.
So I mean, I think that I'm going to take an upside pick, I suppose, and I'll take, well, in terms of positional value, I think he's the best first baseman. I picked him as my breakout. I'll take Vinny Pasquantino to play first.
All right.
And then I think he's the best second baseman in the division as well. I'll take Gleyber Torres from the Tigers.
Ooh.
I was hoping he fell to me.
All right. My pick here, I'm going to take a guy that's pretty good again. I'm actually not going to take that guy. I'm going to go with my ace of the staff here. I think he's got a chance for a really good year. Actually, no, I don't know what I'm doing here, actually. Just, damn. Dude, I don't know now. The fact is crazy.
There's a time limit. You're on the clock. There's about 15 seconds left.
All right.
I mean, we're too early in the draft for you to be stalling like
I don't think
I think it's
the Guardians.
Second baseman.
I'm going to take Pablo Lopez here. I think it's an all right pick.
I'm going to disagree with the pick. I feel like Pablo Lopez as a starting pitcher of one is kind of a loss, but
yeah.
I'm gonna.
All of a sudden,
who do you think's better?
At first, I thought I was going to get last place. All of a sudden, I'm really liking my odds to get second place in this draft right now.
I'm going to go with a more underrated player in Major League Baseball. I'm going to take Royce Lewis to play third base for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that second half is about as stone cold as it gets.
I mean, I think Jake is clearly in last place right here.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I really thought I was going to be in last after that first round when I took Class
You know what? My rotation is
me and Sam are like tied for second right
Royce
now.
Lewis was on pace for 30 plus home runs last year.
Keyword on pace. Look at his second half.
So
All
was,
right.
this,
Anyway,
so was Jared Kelenic, and then he ended
He
up
was-
on the bench.
he only
So
got
were the
like-
Baltimore
he only
Orioles at
played-
100 wins.
He only played 82 games and he hit 16 home runs. So
Mhm.
okay.
if you add another 80 games to that, he could hit
Oh
15.
wow,
16.
nice.
Good math,
Nice,
Jake.
nice.
Algebra right there is off the charts.
All right. My rotation is looking completely empty right now, and we're gonna
Indeed,
keep
it is.
that
I mean,
way.
who's that
because-
SP1?
Well, we're gonna keep it that way for now because
Oh
I'm
my
gonna
goodness!
solidify
This
myself
guy,
with the best
this guy
bullpen.
is Alex Anthopoulos. He does not want to add a starter. Okay.
Bullpen before
Johan
starters.
Durant.
Crazy.
Cade Smith. So if we have the lead before the eighth
Yeah, I
inning,
think
it's a
At
lock.
this point, I would just not draft a starter, and I would just wait till next round and move Griffin Jacks to that starting pitcher position.
That's crazy. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know what to do here. Give me a second.
When's someone going to take a White Sox?
Never.
You know, I'm gonna try to bank.
I'll
I'm
definitely
gonna try to
have
hold
to
up. I'm
take
gonna try to bank on a bounce back here because this guy is one of the most talented players in baseball when he's fully healthy and in a better situation. And I think that he will come back to being one of the more talented players in baseball once he leaves Chicago, and then is Luis Robert Jr. I mean, this guy has
no.
It's the
So
only
much
guy
talent,
that
man.
wins the White Sox, probably.
you can't doubt the potential, and I think that
He's mentally checked out. He's lost.
once Robert, because he's in Chicago. Once Robert gets dealt
I
at
know,
the
I
deadline
know,
to
but
a
like,
contending
he's
team,
not
he'll be
White
fine.
Sox
And this
candidate.
is not the White Sox. This is a fantasy team, so I am fine with Luis Robert Jr.
That's
as my
fair.
pick here.
That's fair.
It's not the White Sox.
Well,
so
who's Jake
Sam,
gonna
you
pick
met-
next year?
You mentioned Griffin Jackson. That's who I'm going to select with my next pick to put him in as my setup man.
Oh,
No, I'm
well,
not-
I like
that,
what Ryan
that
did
is a
with
very
Kate.
interesting take because that basically means Carlos Estevez has to be your closer.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, there's
I'm not gonna lie. I think there's plenty of good reliever depth in this division. I think I'm okay to lay off on that for now. You still got guys like Hunter Gaddis, Tim Herron, Lucas Urseg. They had sub 2 ERAs. What are we
How about
talking
you
Yeah,
about?
add
just funny
Andrew
'cause you're-
Walter? How about you add Andrew Walter?
All right, Jake, you're getting kicked. All right, I'll add you back later.
Samuel,
Samuel.
let's just make the pick here. I'm getting a bit
All right.
cold. I want to make my pick.
Yeah, all right. I'm gonna go with a guy that's known to be good against right-handers mainly, but I think he could be a very solid outfield bat. He haunted me in the postseason last year. I'm gonna go with Kerry Carpenter, very good hitter. We'll put him in right. for
Right
now.
field. Okay. Sam.
Okay. I feel like I definitely have the chance to solidify my staff as the best in this. So I'm gonna take the guy named Tanner from Cleveland, whose last name I'm not gonna try to pronounce because I'm worried I'm gonna get clowned for it. So
You want me to do it for you?
I will take him with my
Tanner
next
Bybee.
pick, and then take Bybee. And then after that, I feel like this is definitely when the talent. I feel like you got to start getting creative here at this point in the draft, you know.
hmm
But that being said, I think that I'm going to just go full in on my staff, and I'm just going to take Jack Flaherty with my next pick.
Ooh, good pick. All right.
Okay.
I have a
back to
feeling.
Samuel.
I have a feeling there might not be one of the top 2 managers left at my next pick, so that's what I'm going to be doing. Give me AJ Hinch as my manager.
Okay.
Wait, there's managers?
Yes.
Yeah. Sam, we told you this like 100 times, dude.
Was never told this once. I mean, but I don't really care because I'm fine with any of the managers. There's 4 teams. I don't have to get the White Sox manager, so I actually will be picking my manager at Stadium last.
That's fair.
I'll play it rate field. I don't care. I don't want fans at my games.
All right, Jake.
All right, Samuel, I'm going to follow suit with managers. I'm going to be taking
Nice.
Stephen Vogt.
This is just getting me for you. All these
This is
managers are
funny.
like all these managers
Ryan
are the
told us-
exact same caliber managers.
For the viewers' information, Ryan told us before we recorded this.
All right, it's my pick now. So I'm finally gonna go with a starting pitcher. Let's go with Shane Bieber. I trust him.
I robbed all the starting pitchers I could from you, dude. I knew you were
You
going to try to
did,
take
no,
Jack
but
Flaherty.
I'm still fine with Shane Bieber. I trust him to bounce back from Tommy John. At least in
Well,
the
I mean,
second
I don't
half.
know. You said you didn't trust Byron Buxton of Jake's team, so
Well, no, I just don't know because his body's taken so many injuries. Beaver has had what, one Tommy John? I don't think he's had another one. So
anyway,
I think I don't really see the problem. All right. With my next pick, this is where the division gets really like stale. Yeah, I feel kind of stuck here.
I mean, you have to take another starter, or else they're all.
Yeah, I kind of do. I mean, there's still some decent starters left on the board. Let's go with my breakout pick. I'm gonna go with Joe Ryan.
I like the Joe Ryan pick.
All right, Jake.
I only have one starter. Okay. I think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a player that I really like in this division that no one really mentioned at all. I'm going to take Matt Vierling to play right field.
No comment. Okay.
All right, Samuel.
All right. With my next pick, we're gonna take. I think who's the best starter on the board? Give me Seth Lugo. I know he's old, but still had a great year last year. Not gonna shy away from that.
All right, Sam.
I mean, if you've been looking at my team, you definitely realize that I need to get to the outfield position relatively soon. So with that being said, here I'm kind of in a bit. I don't really know which outfielder I prefer the most in this situation, so I'm kind of thinking about it. But I think that I'm gonna go with Lane Thomas of the Cleveland Guardians with my next pick.
Good pick.
Samuel's frustrated.
Which outfield spot?
We'll play him in center for now, and that'll be my first pick, and then my next pick. I have third base open, I suppose, and there's not really much to. I'll just wait till the last pick for that. My next outfield spot, I'll go ahead and draft. I'll draft Matt Wallner from the Minnesota Twins.
Left.
Yes.
Okay. Back to Samuel.
All right, I gotta get the bullpen going at some point. It's gonna be a controversial pick, but in this guy's savant, he has his lowest percentile is 49. I'm gonna go with Lucas Urseg.
Closer.
I actually strongly dislike this pick, but we'll keep going.
All right, Jake.
I have no direction of what I want to do right now.
That's
Yeah,
you
I
every
mean, your team has Matt Vierling and Salvador Perez at catcher. I don't know if you have any direction, but
My goodness.
I've got no direction. I think I'm gonna go with the guy that revamped his swing mid-season and made it a lot better. I've got no idea what I'm doing. I'm just gonna take Cole Keith for first base.
Oh my
bro,
gosh.
what?
That's actually not a bad pick. He broke out last year.
All right. I actually cannot believe that he fell to me because you were like just talking about him to me, Samuel. I think like 2 nights ago when we were talking about the pod on
Carlos
private
Santana.
call. No, it is not Carlos Santana. It is David Fry, and I will play him at catcher because there's like no
Yeah.
good catchers left, and he's not a defensive liability at catcher like Salvador
I mean,
Perez
he
is.
kind of is.
All right.
Apparently, he's not supposed to be that good defensively once he comes back. So we'll see.
Okay, but at least he's not old. I kind of trust him.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I kind of trust him to hold up physically. All right. And then I don't really have anything going on the infield outside of Bobby Witt Jr. So let's see here.
A lot of chai socks available.
Yeah.
A lot of
And they-
shots.
Fun.
They will remain available.
Guys,
All right. I'm gonna draft on potential right here. Let's go with Brooks Lee. Has anyone taken Brooks Lee? No.
No,
No.
that's actually that was the
All
best.
right. This was
possible
a
pick you could have made right there.
former top prospect. I'll play him at second base, and I mean, you look at my team so far. I'll just mention this real quickly. I think my upside is the highest. You have former Cy Young Award winner Shane Bieber, Brooks Lee, former top prospect, Luis Robert Jr., one of the most talented players in baseball when he's checked in and not injured. Riley Green, we know who he is. Bobby Witt Jr., MVP candidate. I love the upside of this team. Jake, back to
Yeah,
you.
that pitching staff really scares me.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of pitching staffs, I think I'm gonna have to go with a pitcher here, and I'm gonna go. I just decide between Samuel's breakout candidate or Sam's breakout candidate, and I'm gonna go with the one with the lower ERA, and I'm gonna take Bailey Ober, the 6'9" skyscraper, to be
Wasn't
my.
Bailey already? Was that Ryan who was already taken? So all the
Joe
all three-
Ryan's been picked,
No,
not Bailey
I took
Ober.
Joe Ryan.
Has Pablo Lopez
All
been
right.
taken?
Yeah.
Yes, I took.
Yeah.
Did I take Pablo? I took
All right,
Pablo.
Samuel.
All right, with my next pick, I think I just have to make sure that I get the next catcher off the board. There's only a half decent guy left, but I like him. He's got solid defense, solid swing. I'll go Ryan Jeffers for my catcher.
I'm not drafting a catcher to my last pick anyway because I honestly think that Jake Rogers and Bo Naylor are completely competent, so I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it's fair.
My next pick, I'll be putting Carlos Santana at DH just to get some pop in this lineup. He'll definitely be rotating in and out of first base with Pasquantino, though it's not like a permanent DH type of deal, if you know what I mean. And I guess that means that I should probably think about taking a third baseman with my next pick. But let me.
There's
look at
always
my
Miguel
team real
Vargas.
quick. Right field's wide open. I'll go with another outfielder, and I will take I'll go with Minnesota. I'll take another guy who ranked pretty well in percentages. I'll take Trevor Larnach.
I like that pick. Oh, we already got Warner too.
All right. Samuel.
All right. So I could get that last starter. I could get first base or second base. I'm actually going to pick from the pot of gold at third base, but you can also play second base. I'm going to go with Michael Garcia.
That was who my next pick was. That's great.
Good to hear.
It's getting really shallow right now in terms of good talent left on the board.
Really shallow. With my next pick, I think I'm just going to go with my breakout candidate, and I'm going to take Jonathan India to play second base.
All right, back to me. I will round out my rotation here. Has Michael Wacha not been taken yet?
No, he's not.
That's
No,
insane. I mean,
not
really. Fresh off the extension. Give me Michael Wacha. Thank you very much. And not that it's super important, but I don't have a first baseman on my squad yet. There's not really much
Yeah,
available.
that's screaming. That is screaming Andrew Vaughn to me right there.
Yeah, I mean, I have the option of Ty France or Andrew Vaughn. Ty France had an awful season last year. You just double check Andrew Vaughn's stats. I mean, pretty much a league average hitter, but then that grades out as below average for a first baseman. But it is what it is. I'll just take Andrew Vaughn and get first base out of the way.
Can I move Salvador Perez to a different position?
No, because he
never
can
mind.
only
I already
play,
have.
he can only play first and catcher, so you cannot.
Can I move him to designated hitter?
Sure.
All right. You guys convinced me on Salvador Perez to be designated hitter, and I'm going to go with a different Royals catcher, and I'm going to go with a top defensive catcher in baseball, Freddie Fermin.
Wait. Oh, no. Bro. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Okay, well, all of a sudden, I'm liking my odds very much right now.
Freddie Fermin had
It's
a
more about
Jake,
it's
if
not
you're gonna
about
pitch it-
winning.
Jake, if you're going to pick a defensive catcher, then pick Austin Hedges at least. Like, dude,
I mean,
he didn't even pick the correct defensive catcher.
Should he be disqualified from the draft?
Ryan,
Hey, Jake Rogers, by the way, would have been the much better option. There.
Ryan, what was your last pick?
That's going to be my catcher, by the way.
I actually forget.
What was your last
But,
pick?
It's Andrew
shoot.
Vaughn.
All right, I'm kind of screwed at
Samuel's-
first base. I
Samuel's
might have
up.
to switch some stuff around.
Sorry for me.
You know what,
He did bad last year. He hit 271.
Jake? I'm gonna have
Samuel,
to cover up your.
Samuel's really trying to get Carlos Santana.
Oh, I don't have a good first baseman. My best option is Ty France.
Jake, he had a 685 OPS with a 9th percentile xWOBA.
All right.
Hey,
Dude,
he
I'm
hit
not-
27. He hit 271, which is
I eventually have to
av-
take Spencer
which is
Torkelson at
average.
first base.
So,
Oh my gosh.
average or a little above average.
Jake,
So
Jake, you're talking like you're a baseball fan in the 1970s right now.
as Billy Bean
Bro,
always says,
batting average
get
is
on base.
all right.
Yes, and
Wait, can I see my position players real quick right now? Scroll down a little bit. Okay, so we're gonna move Gleyber Torres over to the shortstop
Yeah.
position, which I get isn't that good for defensive purposes, but if you look at all the other options I have, it's kind of the only option. So I'm gonna draft Michael Massey and play him at second
Yeah.
base.
You skip my pick.
Yeah,
I thought you made
I
up your
did.
pick already.
I did not make a pick.
You said you were
Um,
taking Ty France. You said you took Ty France. At
No,
first
I
base.
said that was my best option. I never said I was taking him.
Okay, who were you taking?
I'm gonna take as my setup guy. He was great in setup relief for Cleveland last year, especially in the postseason. His only bad moment was the Juan Soto home run. Great at bat. I'm gonna go with Hunter Gaddis.
I knew you were
Alright.
going to add Hunter Gaddis to your team.
Sam,
Okay.
I
You, Jake.
honestly forget who you said you were picking for second base.
I was moving Torres
Michael
to
Massey.
short, and I was going
Michael
to take
Massey.
Michael Massey. I think that's the only logical pick I could make right there.
All right, back to Samuel.
Wait, no, I have one more pick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you do. You do.
I have third base open still.
Yeah.
I'll take was Matt Bierling taken by Jake? Probably, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was.
I'll take this guy can kind of I don't know how good of a defender he is. Oh, he's actually an awful defender. But I'll still take him just from an offensive perspective. I'll take Jose Miranda and poke him at third. I mean, the guy. I mean, he hit 284 last year with a 763 OPS. So
All right, Samuel.
All right, my pick. Starting pitcher 3, center field. I think I'm gonna round out my outfield here. Has Parker Meadows been taken at all?
No.
this draft is
think-
getting thin.
I think I don't know if he can play center or not, but if not, we'll just move him with Quan. But yeah,
He can
that's
play
what I
outfield.
think.
It's fine.
He's got some good upside, so that's my pick.
For my next pick, as I become the joke of the draft, I will be adding.
No.
I will be adding Big Christmas.
Oh, thank
Oh,
you.
no.
Oh,
To play
I
left
was scared
field.
there for a second. Oh, I thought that you were gonna go a different. Jake, I thought you were gonna go a different route. I'll just say it that way.
Whoa,
thought he was
who's
Jake, that
He thought he
pick-
was going Darius Leverett to play shortstop.
I was not picking Darius Red. I was going with Big Christmas, Kenzie Noel. And
I am very
for
offended by you not letting me get John Kenzie Noel. I'm very offended by that.
That's not a bad pick. So I have third base, right field, DH, and Management Stadium open. Looking around at the third base options, you have Josh Rojas. I'm gonna go with the young guy. Actually, outside of Josh Rojas, he's the only option left. Let me go Jace Young,
What about Miguel Vargas?
high upside. All right, I'm gonna kick you off.
Jace
Sam,
Young's
'cause
a good
I was
upside.
concerned Rojas, but I ended up taking Miranda.
All right,
How many times has Jake been kicked?
a lot.
Well, he's on the clock, so
Well, I have to make another pick.
I'm still looking for a first base option.
we know.
No luck so far.
I'm just looking at outfielders. Jeez.
Oh my gosh.
Samuel, can Jonathan Rodriguez play right?
Yes.
All
Oh,
right,
please.
We're just gonna go Jonathan Rodriguez.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, actually, no. Will Brennan.
that's-
Will Brennan.
Okay. Jonathan Rodriguez would have been a worse pick than Freddie Fermin, bro.
Is he that bad?
Yeah, no, he's like barely played. He got optioned down last year.
He's on there.
I just saved
Sam
you,
had
bro.
him in the notes. My bad. Oh,
You're-
jeez.
Freddie
46
Fermin won- I mean,
OPS
Freddie-
plus.
Freddie Fermin was a bad pick, but he actually wasn't as bad as I thought when I'm looking at it right now.
It's just like, I don't know. He's
It's
not
like,
that
dude,
bad.
It's like
No
he could
way
have taken him.
said that.
He could have taken him with like the last pick. That was
The
the
way Jake hyped him up was so weird. Like, I thought he was gonna go with, like, Austin Hedges or something. Oh, my God.
All right, Ryan's only got DH manager and staking.
To Jake.
Jake is on the clock.
Okay, since I'm clearly going to become becoming last place in the draft,
Oh,
you may as
rookie.
well add
Oh,
Javier
no.
Baez to my shortstop position, and he'll be the starting shortstop for me. Javier
This
Baez.
is making things very good for us in the blink of an eye.
Hopefully, Stephen Vogt can rebuild that team.
Probably.
All right, I'll just grab my last starting pitcher. We'll go Jackson Job. Why
Oh,
not?
that's actually a good pick.
Thank you.
It actually is.
I
Oh,
don't know. I feel like
I
there's a
thought it
I
couple
like that
earlier.
pick.
safer options.
All right,
To
Sam.
be honest, I mean, I think Ryan will probably end up winning by whatever voting system you guys do. But I think I have the best team. I know my offense is not that much star power, but what do I have? I have to set up a catcher, and then what else do I have left?
Patriot Stadium.
Okay, so I'm gonna take my setup and catcher here. At catcher, I'm in between a couple guys right now. But
It's Jake
I think-
Rogers. You gotta go Jake Rogers.
Well, there's two other guys I'm thinking of as well right now.
Sam, I'm offering the trade.
It's between Jake, but I
Did you
am.
just offer him a trade?
I'm taking Jake Rogers. I'm taking Jake.
Sam,
Rogers.
I'll
Yeah,
offer the trade. Jake Rogers for Freddie Fermin.
All right, this is not funny. You're getting kicked again.
And then I don't know how he fell. I was saying that he was a bad signing earlier in the show, but for my setup man, I feel like I got to take Carlos Estevez.
Great pick. Can't argue with that.
right.
So I'm screwed at first base. Clearly. Can someone like MJ Melendez play first or something like that?
Let me check. If he has one appearance at first,
I
in his
think
career,
he's
he's
played first
qualified.
before. I'm pretty sure.
Nah, he's got to have more than one first base appearance.
Nah, I'll count it if he has one.
I don't
No,
think he
he's-
has one anyway.
No, I remember him playing first before.
I'm checking. He has 2 appearances at first base.
No,
this
we're
I
not
know.
doing this.
I'm not going to do
We're
that.
not
I'm not
doing
going to do
this.
that.
career. Okay. He's not doing it. He's not.
So I have like no idea. Can I do like Christian Vasquez or something? Like I don't know.
Well,
All right, bounce back season. Spencer Torkelson.
Kyle Manzardo is an option, but okay.
Manzardo. I don't know.
No, he already took Torkelson. He already took him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
all I can really do.
All right. Jake is not taking this seriously. Jake, you can private chat your pick because you're just not going to be
Oh.
serious. So it's a waste of time.
That deep now. Okay.
All right. In the meantime, I will take my DH right here. Yeah, Jake's getting mad, but you basically eliminated your own team, so I'm not really gonna add you back.
Who's even?
Actually,
Damn.
fine, I'll let you back. Okay, you're making a real pick. You're probably gonna take Darius Leverett, but
No, I have a real pick. Let me get Jason Foley to be my closer.
okay.
He's the best closer left.
if you're gonna
he
go
actually-
out, draw
he
with
actually-
confidence.
He actually did have a pretty good year last year, 3.1 ERA. Even though it's not great for a closer, but he's fine.
All right. I'll go DH here. There's like no options available. I probably should have filled this hole earlier on. Actually, I'm thinking about it. Nah, I'm not gonna. I was gonna say MJ Melendez. Is there any like average hitter left? I mean,
I think my last one besides the stadium is DH.
yeah, you have like nobody. No, let me take a guy who has a 94. Wait. Never mind.
I guess Willie.
Omar?
Maybe
Yeah, I was
average.
gonna say I don't really have many switch hitter options on my team. Let me go with the switch hitter who had an above 100 OPS plus last year and can play both the outfield and middle infield, even though he'll be the DH in this. Willie Castro.
I can't
And then-
think I was
Co-op. I always show co-op legend.
I need a manager now, so we're just gonna go with Rocco Baldelli.
Jake said he doesn't. Who said that they don't even know who that is? Was that you, Jake?
Yeah, I don't know anything about managers.
You don't know anything about baseball.
Jake, that starting
No,
start,
please.
Jake, that starting pitcher 3 is pretty open right now, Jake.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna go with your breakout candidate. Give me Simeon Woods Richardson. Great for the name game.
Oh,
He'll be my.
But not great for this draft.
You're not wrong about that, but on this one, it's my team.
All right, I'm gonna take the only average hitter I see left on the board. Give me Hunter Renfro.
How do you spell Renfro? Is it like the football player, or is it like this? Or
He's-
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
That's good. No,
uh,
it's with the E. It's with the E. It's with the E. Okay. I was looking at hitter-friendly ballparks, and the one in the background, Kauffman Stadium, was the most friendly in this division, according to Baseball Spot. So, and you guys see that my lineup is semi-weak. And then for my manager, I'm just gonna have the guy stay at his home ballpark. I'll take. Oh, I had his name pulled up a second ago. I'll take Matt Quatraro. Yeah.
All right.
He's a
You
real
can
good
just call him
manager.
Q or something.
All right. I had to copy paste that.
Oh,
'cause-
nice one right there. Okay.
Sam,
All right, Sam. I appreciate you for letting me take my favorite ballpark, Progressive Field.
nobody cares.
It's so
Crowd goes
mid.
wild.
Like,
for
I'm
Progressive.
not trying to be mean, but like it's just so mid of a ballpark.
I'm gonna go
No,
with
it's
one of-
not. It's actually good if you go. It's actually good if you go.
I'm gonna go with.
So is every other ballpark.
Not
I'm
national.
gonna take one of my favorite ballparks in baseball, very underrated ballpark. I'll take Comerica Park.
Oh, I thought you were about to take right field.
I thought right field was going once, going twice, going 3 times.
All right. You know what? I have. Yeah, we're just gonna
Or
keep
just take-
Rocco Baldelli.
Just take Target Field. Keep
No,
him at home.
I'm keeping Rocco at home, and I'm keeping Willie Castro at home, and the majority of my pitching staff. So
I think
No.
I had the best team.
What's the total amount of White Sox drafted first? Can we calculate that out?
2.
I think
One.
we should calculate this. I think we should calculate this based on projected B-WAR.
did I have all the White
That
Sox?
takes too long.
Sam, we're just gonna calculate at the end of the season when it comes to like the best team. But
Yeah, but like as of now, who do
No,
you
I
think?
think-
for right now.
for right now, I think that Bobby Witt Jr.'s star power is better than whoever Sam has.
Okay, well, we're talking about the best overall team, not star power.
My
My
team-
obviously.
My starting rotation is the best by a mile.
Wait, let me see Sam's rotation.
Okay, my bullpen's the best by a mile.
Yeah, but you
No,
invested
my
too much in your
bullpen has Kwase. It's the best.
I don't think Ryan's team is good enough for him to get to that bullpen.
I
Wait,
like my
check out
team.
my
I'll-
team.
I like
Wait,
I
You're
like my
right,
team over any
rotation's
team.
still weak.
Wait, can you check my team? I think my team's solid too. But that's a solid.
Too
line.
much mid. Pablo,
I
Rizzo,
think-
Joe?
I,
Oh, you're
I
a whole
really
lineup
don't
player.
like
I
it.
have like Ramirez,
Dude,
Correa,
there's just
Kwan.
like outside of
Carpenter.
Ramirez and Correa, the lineup kind of stinks.
I think
Quan
I'm gonna go
Carpenter?
with Ryan
Yeah,
one.
Spencer
Sam
Torkelson?
Go 3-4.
No. Spencer Torkelson will not be beginning the season on the Tigers opening day roster. So
Well,
like,
yeah.
I mean, we have a AAA
Yeah,
first
yeah.
baseman.
Ryan almost took
Um,
Jonathan Rodriguez. Okay.
Yeah, at least he's beginning the team on the opening day roster.
No, he isn't. Jonathan Rodriguez is not beginning.
He's
No.
projected to have a higher chance than that boy Torque.
All
Okay.
Does my team
But
beat
outside of,
Sam?
like-
All of my guys will be in the opening day roster.
I'm just saying, if you look at my team,
Javier
And if
Baez
you look
might
at my
be
team, like Santana and Pasquantino can hit the ball pretty well. So can Torres.
Wait, Sam. Can you check Sam's team?
Yeah, let me see Sam's.
good. I don't know if Colt Keith is going to be on the opening day roster.
No,
No, he definitely will. He definitely will.
I think
Nobody
Glaber can hit the ball.
opened
I
their
think I feel like my outfield is really underrated. I feel like there are a
Really?
lot of good baseball players in my outfield.
Sam, you say what do
I
I
think
have out
the
of like
fielding
Ramirez
is-
and Correa?
I
What do
think
you have on your lineup outside of like anything? Like it's a lot of mid too.
Santana
Yeah, that's a
Santana
very
can hit the ball really
lackluster
well.
lineup.
Yeah, that's a
Thomas,
horrible lineup.
Like Wallner and Warner can hit the ball well. Miranda can hit it
know.
well. Torres
just feel like
can.
it's too
I don't
Yeah.
even know if your rotation's the best. Like
I just think if that ball
What do
gets
you
hit to the
mean?
outfield-
Whose rotation is near mine?
Sam's rotation's the best, and it's not really
all right,
that close.
but like it's
I
I
just
don't
think
know.
it's
Who's
like,
Sam's
Carolina's
outfield
too
again?
bad.
Let me see.
My outfield's all above average players.
Wait, Sam,
I mean-
Sam, who's your last outfield?
But
Okay.
but nobody's actually good in that outfield.
Yeah.
Walner, they can all have good.
That ball gets hit to that outfield, and besides Matt
Yeah.
Wallner's arm, I don't think really that many great plays will be made out there in that outfield. All of
Yeah.
them way below average defense.
Ryan and Sam, you talk about my star power.
Lane Thomas literally has one of the best arms in this division. But okay.
Yes,
Well,
but he
he
sucks at
also
everything else
seven-
fielding wise.
He
Besides
also
his
gets
arm.
17 fielding run value.
Yeah.
Wallner has a better arm than Thomas, but
I
he's
think Sam is
accurate
actually
enough, but was in the almost dark blue when it comes to defense
Hey, bro.
in the outfield.
You talk
Yeah.
about star power in my lineup. There's none in yours. There's
I-
nothing.
I think that Ryan's team wins, and I think Sam's is second because of his pitching.
What I don't
Yeah.
understand. Like Ryan's.
I don't know. All these teams are pretty bad. I can't even decide.
Yeah.
I don't think any of them beat any of our
Realistically, like if you fill out a bench and you fill out the bullpen and the rest of the rotation, like I don't think any of these teams would make the playoffs.
And to be honest, it does not get that much better, even if it was like a 3-team draft. Still.
Yeah, this division is just so weak in terms of depth. But anyways,
I mean,
that'll do
it's
it for the
kind of
podcast,
top heavy
guys.
in a way. yeah.
We'll see you on the next podcast, the AL West preview. Ryan, Jake, Samuel, and Sam signing out.